I'm Craig Kenneth, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist. Every relationship is different and every breakup is different. Work with me and you'll get professional help on your situation. And if you're in no contact, focused on personal growth, my workbook series, The Knowledge, will help you make changes like you've never made before. Available now at AskCraig.net. Hi there, I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And today we're going to be talking about they started getting distant.
Now this is something that you'll see towards the end of a relationship.
Yeah, it's interesting that relationships have an ebb and a flow to them, you know, where there are going to be times where you feel really close to somebody and you really feel connected with them. And then there are going to be times where things are distant. And it's not always easy to maintain that connection, right? Because life is not always easy. You know, sometimes things come up, jobs or stress or family issues or health issues that can really impact a connection. And sometimes it's outside influences, right? Sometimes friends and family pressure us. There are a lot of different reasons where we can get distant. In fact, some of it could be just that it just feels too overwhelming to be too close to somebody, right?
Exactly. And people change so often that it's illogical to think that your relationships won't change as well.
Yeah. It's that you have to have a good understanding of what a relationship needs and the balance that it needs. But, you know, if you get too overwhelmed by your anxiety and can't give your partner the space that they need, or you start forcing your own agenda all the time, that causes a lot of problems, right? But there can be so many different reasons that cause a breakup, that cause somebody to feel disconnected to you. And today we have one that we don't talk about very often. We've got an email coaching, and we're going to get into this one because this one does come up in my calls, but I don't think we've done too many videos on it on the channel.
Right.
Okay? So they said, "Hi, Coach Craig. Thank you for what you, Margaret, and now Victoria are doing to help people in situations like myself. Here goes. My girlfriend of nearly 2 years broke up with me in the end of March of this year, and I am still struggling. Now, they're both in their mid-20s, and they met in 2019, in like summertime of 2019. Okay. So they work in different states. She was my first long-distance relationship. In the fall of 2020, I returned home from the military and we saw each other every 2 weeks. I got a job and was working at becoming a civilian again and working on my anxiety and depression. I was and still am living with my parents." Okay, so anxiety and depression, I don't know how that's going to come into play here, but certainly both can come out in different avenues, right? Like if he's anxious, he might have been controlling and manipulative and not allowing her the space or the time she needs. And if he was depressed, he might have just been exhausted and not really committed to the relationship in the way she wanted.
Right. And we also have a lot of factors here. Coming back from the military, we don't know what type of experiences he had during the military, so that can be another factor. And also living with his parents. Even though it's very normal for people in their 20s to be residing at home, we don't know his family involvement, the level of it.
Exactly. She lives with her family. Oh, and we live 3 hours away from each other. Her mother and father are divorced. Her father is a narcissist. She didn't have a job yet. Her mom helped her out. Okay. So she doesn't have a job. That could be telling, especially if it's an extended amount of time. Why doesn't she have a job? Is she in school? She could be still taking classes and just doesn't want to work and do school. But, you know, if somebody doesn't keep a job for an extended amount of time, it could mean that there's something going on with their mental health, right?
Exactly. And her father being a narcissist is also very concerning. We don't know what that looks like. That could also translate to abusive. So there's a lot that could go on behind the scenes there too.
Sure. And it would be really hard to trust men. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's a big one.
Yeah.
After an injury, she moved in with me, and we became more intimate without sex. Okay? Mm-hmm. So I don't know what's going on, if this is something to do with religious beliefs, or maybe she personally just wanted to wait, or maybe they both wanted to wait. I don't know. Mm-hmm. After some thinking, I brought up moving into our own place and marriage. She was in agreement with me. Things changed after New Year's of this year. My mother and she got into an argument. I was not there. She started getting distant. I was the only one making the 3-hour trip. Okay, so what was this argument?
Yeah.
Was this something going on that caused this to make her back off? I don't know. It's a bit unusual, right?
Right. And also with the intimacy, was it something that was discussed, or was it just that their relationship kind of evolved into this, sexless relationship, unless it was something that they wanted? Mm-hmm. Maybe one of the partners is more on the asexual side of the spectrum. Mm-hmm. Maybe it is for religious reasons. So really dissecting that could give us more information.
Yep. Let's go on. Okay. But it is concerning that he was the only one making that 3-hour trip. Because to me, it's like, all right, so now she's not as invested, and he's really invested, and that makes somebody more likely to want to end things when they're not investing.
Exactly.
Right?
And with long-distance relationships, the stakes are much higher. You have to invest a lot more in order for the relationship to work at all. It's a lot of phone calls, video calls throughout the week. It's a lot of driving in some cases, the expenses of making that trip.
The traveling, that's a lot.
It is a lot.
I went to see her whenever I could due to work schedules. I thought things were going well. Well, when she wasn't traveling as much, that would have been concerning for me, right? In the end of March, we were laughing and having a great time. She cooked. I told her I loved her and couldn't wait to marry her. She had gotten up and made a phone call. She came back into the house and told me we needed to talk.
This is really ominous.
Mm-hmm.
Who was on the other side of that call?
Whoever it was had to do with this breakup for whatever reason. Okay? My heart sank. I knew what was coming. After she started to speak, I asked her if she was breaking up with me. She said yes while crying. I told her okay and gathered my things. I was barely able to keep my emotions in check. I was broken. That night, she told me that there was nothing that I did or didn't do. Seemed she used God as her excuse. Very unusual, but I do see it come up. Okay? And in different ways. It's not always the same way. Obviously, everybody has their own religious or spiritual beliefs, but I wonder if this was something that you had any idea of. Did you know that? I mean, maybe this is why they weren't having sex, and maybe it was discussed. We weren't told. But imagine somebody breaking up with you and making it seem like it was God. Like, what was she saying? God doesn't want us to be together. I don't think God wants us to be together. I don't know what she was saying.
Yeah. I mean, it could be a lot of things. And also, we talk extensively on the channel about how families can interfere with relationships just because, what they say, their influence on your partner. In a way, it seems like she probably has some sort of religious family and religious community, which she surrounds herself with. And I wonder if there might be something going on in those teachings that encouraged her to detach from this relationship. Maybe there's certain key figures in her life that are encouraging her in some sort of way. It's really hard to tell. And also, I don't want to discredit the fact that people can have their own faith and their own beliefs. So it could be something inside of her in her personal relationship with faith that made her want to separate from this relationship. And this is why it's so critically important to talk about values, religion, faith very early on in the relationship. Obviously not first, second, third date, but if you're getting to the point where you decided to have a long distance relationship, where she is spending a lot of time with you, where you see things progressing and you're talking about marriage, discussing faith is essential. It's critical.
Yeah, it is. And, you know, everybody has their own religious or spiritual beliefs, and I'm not making light of that. I just think, you know, it's frustrating, and I could see the kind of humor in it as well. Like, imagine being so frustrated, like, wait a minute, you're ending this relationship. You told me you wanted to marry me, and now you're saying you don't want to be with me because you think that God is telling you that? Like, it's very frustrating because you feel like so powerless there. Because, you know, especially if she's telling you didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
Well, how are you supposed to refute that or even discuss it?
And it also sounds like these little key moments that he wrote in the email so far, like the phone call, also like the argument with his mother, it doesn't sound like there was much elaboration on those points. And so it makes me wonder, did they discuss those things? Did he really know what was going on emotionally inside of her during those events that could have led to a breakup? It makes me wonder how much communication they're really having. Yeah. Also, the wording, it seemed like it was because of God. You would think that, you know, if you had this close connection with somebody, that conversation, it would be clear at that point.
Yeah.
You know, what the breakup really was about.
I have a feeling that she was getting influenced by other people. Now, I don't know if it was in the church or not, but that's what I think is going on here. Somebody is using their religion to maybe pressure her. That's what I get a feeling of.
Yeah.
Okay, so he said, that killed me. Can I repair this? I went into no contact and luckily found your videos before doing the mistakes you spoke about. I started working on myself. I go to the gym every day. I quit my job and started going to college full time. I've been working on my personal growth. That's all awesome stuff. Good job. After not wanting to see her, it hurt a lot. I blocked her on Instagram, but kept her on Facebook and Snapchat. Occasionally, she would look at my Snapchat story. She hasn't liked any of my Facebook posts in weeks. I was ready to start moving on. I was one of those guys who believed she was too stubborn to reach out. After getting ready to reach out to you, she messaged me after 3 months, about 1 week ago. She asked about the website where we had bought her gun from. I panicked. You were right about the emotions coming back. I waited until the next day to open and answered her message. She has not messaged me since. I am in an emotional roller coaster. I can't tell if it was an indirect direct or not. Well, I was thinking maybe because it was about a gun, maybe she needed some kind of registration or something.
That's possible.
I don't know. That's my best guess. Or it could have been a legitimate excuse, but it didn't seem to go anywhere. I don't know if you did any follow-up questions with her, like how are you doing, what's been going on, to see why that didn't transpire into anything else, or if she just wanted the information. Then got invited to a dinner she may be at. Should I go? I hope to Skype with you soon. What do you think? Should he go to the dinner?
I think why not? You know, it sounds like he's still emotionally invested in this relationship. And it sounds like through this email and even the fact that he sent this email that he really is considering repairing this and wants to.
Yeah. I would say there are a few things I'd consider when going to the dinner. How many people are going to be there?
And
who's going to be there?
Exactly.
And how well you think you can handle yourself if you go. If you don't think you can handle yourself well, I wouldn't go. If you think you could go, have a great time, laugh and joke with everybody, and just show like you're relaxed and you're happy and not cause any drama.
Right.
But, you know, think things through because you don't want it to be awkward and uncomfortable, and it could be. So I would get more information if you could, like who's going to be there. I don't know. This is a really unusual situation. I feel like there's more going on that he didn't have all the info for.
Yeah.
Like, where is this stuff coming from about God? Is she getting pressured by people? Maybe there's pressure in her church that they want her to be with a certain guy in the church, that they're pushing for that.
Anything is a possibility.
Yeah.
I think, too, a lot of these questions seem to be smaller picture questions. You know, I blocked her on Instagram with the Facebook post and focusing on these small details. Bigger picture, are you okay with being with somebody of that faith? It sounds like faith is something that's extremely important to her, and it sounds like she's seeking out a partner who can match that. So I think that's an introspective question for yourself if you are willing to explore that with her.
Yeah. I guess you really need to get some more information, but I wouldn't pressure her. If you go to the dinner, or if you're, have an opportunity to go to someplace she may be, and it's like a mutual friends thing, just make sure you can hold it together and not put any pressure, because that's not the time or place to bring that stuff up. Unless she comes over to you and brings it up, then you can. But remember, you want it to be that they are reaching out to you. That's when you have a conversation. Not because you just bump into somebody in a place where they're getting attacked or bombarded.
Right.
Right?
Right. And I did have another thought too. I wonder if she also struggles with communicating her needs and her emotions, because it sounds like, as I mentioned before, these little events happened and it didn't really seem like you got much information from them. So I don't also want to write off the fact that her bringing up God could have been legitimately a way of not bringing up the real issues. So lots of possibilities here. We can't know for sure, but we're hoping that some of our speculation, maybe you can put together the pieces, because nobody knows the situation as well as you do.
Of course. So hopefully you found this one helpful. And of course, if you want to get our help personally, you can get it on my website, askcraig.net. I do email coaching and I do Skype. Victoria is now doing Skype coaching.
Yes, and I'm excited to speak with you.
Just click on her name on the top of the website to schedule with her. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And we will talk with you soon.